Hi, everyone. I am Alex. As mentioned, I'm part of the ARIA Advanced Research and Invention Agency. Since we're a new funding agency, I thought I would talk a little bit about what ARIA is, and then I'll talk about the program that we're funding, which is the main topic of this talk, which is called Scaling Trust. So ARIA stands for the Advanced Research and Invention Agency. We're a UK R&D funding agency that funds R&D moonshots worldwide. If you're familiar with DARPA, this would be the equivalent in the UK. That was started only a few years ago. And our goal, as mentioned here, unlocking scientific and technological breakthroughs that benefit everyone. The difference with DARPA is we don't have the D, so we don't do anything defense-related, but we do everything else. Some information very quickly from public goods. We're impact-focused. We have a high-risk appetite. Just like DARPA, we have focused programs that try to go after an ambitious goal. Each of our programs is about 50 to 70 million pounds, which is about 70 to 100 million dollars. And since we're 3 years old, we don't have a lot of programs there, but we have about 16 programs so far in a lot of different fields, in manufacturing, in better chips, in better vaccines or vaccines based on different parts of the immune system, in neurotechnologies. And so I am a program director at ARIA. And so I focus specifically on the program called Scaling Trust, which is the little column you see there. And so what is Scaling Trust? And maybe before I do that, the goal of the talk today is to tell you more about the things that we're looking to fund and that we're funding already, and also to get your opinion about the current thesis that we have and to kind of let you know about this. Great, so Scaling Trust is currently a 50 million pound program, so about $70 million that is going to be 3-year long. And what we care about is funding the research and the infrastructure that enables agents to coordinate with certain properties. First, by coordination, we mean, can agents actually find counterparties that they need to maybe trade with or interact with for non-trade purposes? Can they actually negotiate in sophisticated ways? Can they enforce agreements as well? And this is the kind of the thinking that we have. Why we care about them doing this securely is because the setting that we care about is an adversarial setting in multi-agent, multi-principal systems. So we don't care about the single owner multi-agent systems. This is about different agents that are representing different quote-unquote owners or different principals that are interacting securely with one another. Why securely? Because some of these agents may be adversarial, they may be information asymmetry, they might have different goals, and so we care about what is the technology and research that enables that. Programmatically, because we want this to move at machine speed, and so we don't necessarily want humans in the loop. At scale, we want this technology to be available to everyone. And without intermediaries, this is more of a statement about the topology of the future system we want, is we want to limit the amount of systemic choke points that exist in this infrastructure. And the picture is blocking something, that's okay, across digital and physical worlds. So we think of agents as also agents that are embodied. And so we care about building the infrastructure that extends to the physical world as well, and that you can have secure interactions that includes elements of the physical world. We think there are new developments in cryptography and secure hardware, and cryptography in particular, this trend that has been dubbed programmable cryptography, and the latest trends in secure hardware, and in other parts of the tech stack that enables us to break some of the tensions that were mentioned in the previous talk as well, or where at least the trade-off space has changed, and we can actually place different points in that space. All right, why do we care about this? One, I think today a lot of the agent stack is not super mature, and it's very hard to send our agents in a while to do stuff for us. We've looked at a taxonomy of potential attacks before, but there are many things there. We're excited about a world of agent societies and agent networks and the value that can be created from that. If we're able to extend this coordination infrastructure to the physical world as well, we're excited about potential markets that extend to the physical world. In a way, if we go back to the implementation of cryptography in our modern digital society, it enabled things indirectly like e-commerce to exist, and our current digital society kind of stand on top of these like building blocks. And so we're excited about what kind of new markets can be created from this. Finally, there's also specific things that agents can do that humans cannot. To give you an example, 2 agents can enter a quote-unquote room using secure hardware. They can potentially disclose information to one another, and they can commit to deleting the information from their memory if the deal doesn't go through. And so these are things that, as humans, we can only approximate with, for example, NDAs, that with agents we're able to do programmatically. And so there are things that agents can uniquely do that we're very excited by for the value that can be created for humans and also generally these things. However, we want to create all this value while making sure that it's aligned with human flourishing, which is something else that was mentioned in a previous talk. So we want to make sure that this infrastructure is open source. We want to make sure that this infrastructure is open to all. And as I mentioned, this without intermediaries point is very important to us. We want to enable a system where many models can exist together, many minds can coexist together in a way. And this concept, generally, people talk about it in the context of pluralism or plurality. We want to avoid a slide towards monoculture, where kind of everyone is using the same stack, but also indirectly, our preferences are also influenced in that way, and there's less diversity in society. It's not only about diversity for the sake of diversity. We think it makes us as humanity less resilient to shocks, both culturally and technologically, and kind of erodes our agency over time as well. And this is really important to us. This is why we think should be built somehow as a public good, and why we're very happy to give these grants for that. And how we do this practically, so how this program is structured, well, we want to build a stack, a coordination stack for agents. Some of this is digital, some of this is physical. We're funding already a first set of teams, including some teams at Berkeley, that are, for example, working on different ways for agents to reason about security, to autonomously generate protocols, and to interact with sophisticated security systems, but also for agents to reason about negotiations in sophisticated ways. We're also funding on the physical side. We're funding, for example, new sensors that are more easy for agents to interact with and that can be temper resistant. And people are trying to break these things as well. So we have this kind of digital to physical stack that we're funding, and a lot of this is great, but we think without fundamental research, it's going to stay mostly empirical. And a lot of the research today that we see feels very empirical to us, at least if you come from theoretical computer science and these fields of security. And so we want to make sure that the stack that maybe is arrived at or converged at in empirical matter has theory that underpins it. And we think there are some new questions that need to be answered there that is applying our formal security thinking to this new field of AI that is currently resists being fully formalized in that sense. And there's a few areas that we're excited by there that I mentioned. Autonomous protocol generation, formal AI security, applying some concepts of cryptography to the physical world as well. If you're familiar with quantum cryptography and physically inclonable functions, there are a few fields there that are trying to swap the roots of trust that we use in traditional cryptography into the physical world, and there may be others that are useful there, and I won't go into too much detail. So even if we have the stack, and even if we have the theory that backs the stack so that we're not, there's not a looming impossibility result, or we're not working completely in the dark, we still need this to be tested, because ultimately this is about multi-agent, multi-principal systems, and we need this stack to also be stress tested. The last thing that we're funding is a massive testbed that is open to the public, that anyone can submit their agents. This stack will be tested, but you can also bring your own stack or whatever you want, and we're making it a competition, so people will compete to win in this testbed. And red teams will also be competing to be the best red teams. And what we want to test essentially is, can we measure the state of the art in secure agentic coordination under adversarial pressure? Can we also see what emerges as well? Because we can, us as humans, decide what the stack that is needed is. But as we've seen many times, emergent behaviors sometimes reveal new things that agents can uniquely do. And so we want to make sure that the testbed itself is open-ended enough, and the tasks themselves are open-ended enough that we can see what emerges from that. And finally, and what's relevant to this track, we want to understand what kind of failure modes exist. A lot of these behaviors can be out of distribution, and understanding the failure modes help us understand the safety requirements that we need, and maybe also regulation and these type of things. This is kind of it. I'm not going to go too much into program updates, but we are working with, we're funding some teams already, and we're also working with DeepMind, Cooperative AI Foundation, and Schmidt Sciences on a call that will close on August 8th. Some of what we're funding are the sandboxes and testbeds I mentioned here, but also other things. And that is pretty much it. Yeah. Thank you very much. I'm happy to talk more about any of this, and if there's any skepticism or questions, I'm happy to take them somewhere around later. Thank you.